We have a huge UFC collection here. Definitely one that you need to check out. State of the Amateur, some bangers, some cool stuff, especially if you like Legends of the Games and so much more. I mean, Aaron, you're the UFC guru here.
It's the UFC guru!
Try to be, man.
Especially, I mean, you know the history. I mean, this is the true history of UFC.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's one thing that, as a collector and getting into the hobby, I love uncovering all of the older sets, seeing what Topps used to do, what the UFC used to implement as far as just like the pictures, the numbering, the inserts, the memorabilia, so to speak, that they throw in there.
So much.
It's crazy. And then the history of the fighters, the divisions, the whole sport as a whole.
We're going to start off here. We're going to start off with a little BJ Penn lot. In this lot, there was, I mean, it's a box of probably like 300 cards. But we started off, we grabbed a few of the cool BJ Penn cards. They already have price tags on them because for setting up at shows and stuff. But here's a cool BJ Penn matte relic, which is something that they used to do a lot of.
They numbered the UFC, like the UFC event, the pay-per-view.
So you can see right here, it came from UFC 118, just super dope. We should look up what fight that's actually, what card that was, like who he fought on 118. It's probably whoever's in this picture.
This looks like Frankie Edgar.
UFC guru!
Probably fought Frankie Edgar at 118, so that's pretty cool. But a couple more cool BJ Penns. So this is actually from
cracked ice insert.
Yeah, so we'll start with that one. The Atomic Refractor of BJ Penn. Obviously, BJ Penn, super iconic, but the die cut that they did in the Finest, I mean, I would love to see a comeback for Finest now that Topps has it. And then the Undisputed Greats of the Game from 2009. I believe this is round 1. I might be wrong on that one, but I believe this is round 1. Would be technically a rookie. So that's super cool. Obviously, the first set and the most iconic set in UFC history, and one that we opened a box of. So if you haven't seen that video, you need to check out that video right now. I'm telling you, that is more important than this. As great as this lot was, that's important.
Yeah, that box of round 1 was just insane. We got almost the whole set, too.
Yeah, we're missing 4 cards from the set, and 35 of the cards are sent off to PSA right now.
So if you want to know what 98% of those cards look like, check out that video. But next, we're going to get into the man who holds the record for the most title fights lost, Joseph Benavidez. Now, he might not have won any of the important fights in the UFC, but he got Megan O'Leary, so
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That's a win everybody's jealous of.
And he signed the card with the crayon.
Good old Joey B. I think it was a silver Sharpie, and the ink just probably like lead.
But it's so bad.
We're gonna get into it with the legend of the game, Pat Miletich. I mean, a lot of people collecting UFC these days probably don't even know the name Pat Miletich, but he started out the Miletich training program, or not program, but Miletich training camp, which has got fighters like Robbie Lawler out of from Iowa. And this man was definitely a pioneer of the sport in the sense of one of the few people who learned very early on that you need to master all of the martial arts to actually do well in MMA, not just be a, so to speak, specialist of one martial art and try to make that shine. He was one of the people that started actually branching out, going to different places, learning from different people, and trying to master mixed martial arts.
So you'd say he was probably nicknamed the Avatar?
No.
I was just saying because all 4 elements.
Are you funny? Okay.
This one I want to talk about. The Kimbo Slice
of
rookie.
Of course you take one of the coolest cards out of the lot.
This card is so cool. I mean, this one's 2010, so this is his actual technical rookie year. Technically, he has a 2009 Tough Auto in 2009 round 1 or round 2. So you can get an auto of his in 2009, but this is his technical, one of his rookie cards.
Yeah.
His first actual cards, not autographed, not just as thrown into extra packs. Because if you open those 2009 round 2 boxes, it's 2 autos guaranteed. If you get one of the tough autos, it's 3 autos in the box, which is super cool.
I'd rather take that, man.
That's what I'm saying. So you can definitely get some cool people in there. A lot of no names, but I mean, you know, Kimbo Slice. That's Kimbo Slice. You know what I mean?
We got Cyborg right here, and it's a Strikeforce card. Many of you longtime MMA fans know about Strikeforce being one of the few organizations that stood around and had top-level talent outside of the UFC. Still a menace back in the featherweight division in Strikeforce. Champion there, undefeated. Moved to the UFC, stayed undefeated, stayed just knocking women out until Amanda Nunes came along.
Yeah, she's actually tied for the most women knockouts other than John Jones. That's pretty good. Numbered card out of 125, so
yeah.
Or 175, I can't tell. 125, so super cool card there.
The poster cards are just super sick because, I mean, they go over a little bit of the history of the sport. You know, obviously it's got the pictures of the fighters on there. But the cool thing with some of these is they actually have the name of the pay-per-view on there. Like, you'll have Ultimate Fighting Championship 3. These are Ultimate Fighter posters 2, and then the Fight Night posters, which is just awesome. And they stopped naming the pay-per-views because a lot of times, like Proving Grounds, they would end up kind of ironically, and then battle for the gold. If you guys watch this fight, you know what I'm talking about in the irony of naming pay-per-views. It was a battle for the gold. It was a great fight toward the end, but a lot of people gave the fight to Kevin Randleman, but Bas Rutten walked away with the title. This is one of those early misjudging calculations that went on and kind of made people wonder whether or not you should have judges in the sport or just let somebody finish each other.
And that's still an issue to this day, which is the wildest
To
part.
this day.
I mean, you still see it so often where fights are... I mean, look at the Sean O'Malley and Peter Yan fight alone.
I mean, seriously. Like, that fight was ridiculous. Vitor Belfort, Chuck Liddell. I mean, and just Kenny Florian, BJ Penn, and then you have Anderson Silva fighting... that was the 95... Forrest Griffin. And just made him look silly. Made him look silly, boy. Meltdown. This is one of the earliest cards. You got Chuck Liddell, Tank Abbott, Kimo Leopoldo, Vitor Belfort, Randy Couture, Frank Mir, and you got Ken Shamrock. I mean, these...
Next, we're going to go to a cool rookie, triple C right there. This is going to be the 2012 wrestling. So I don't know exactly how this works. I'm calling it a rookie, but it's Henry Cejudo and the wrestling and the Olympic team. I mean, I just think that card's super dope. One that you really just don't find of Triple C. Triple C doesn't get much love, and I don't blame him for that. I wouldn't give him much love either. Great YouTube videos, though. I mean, I will say that is the one good thing about him. As cringy and crazy and kooky as this guy is, see, I did the 3 C's. You know, his YouTube channel is banger, and he has high level IQ. Everything he does
is like up there.
It's got a purpose.
Triple C's my name.
Thank you, Henry.
JDS. This is a fan favorite for me and Chris. Just like growing up, I liked his story. I definitely like Cain Velasquez more than JDS. So, I mean, I love their trilogy fight. It was awesome. Obviously, Cain got the better of the 2 out of 3. But, I mean, JDS, such a good guy. I mean, really wholesome. One of the best people you'll probably ever meet.
If you ever meet him.
Yeah, if you ever meet him. And I haven't. I've just seen a lot of videos where he's just like super cool, super relaxed, just down to earth guy.
This one's out of 2010 UFC Knockout, and it's numbered out of 88.
And that's one thing I wish that they would do back with UFC is bring back the 8s.
Yeah, the 8s is so cool. That is so cool. Kimbo Slice rookie, an actual rookie. So this one's not going to be the insert. This is his actual rookie card from 2010 main event, Tough 10 finale. I mean, it's Kimbo Slice. That's super cool. And
fighting Houston Alexander. Kimbo started on YouTube, just like doing backyard fights, little backyard brawls, and he had a team, and he's just pretty much undefeated. And then he had one fight that really took hold where he fought an officer in Boston. I think his name was Sean Gannon. Funny enough, the UFC actually signed him as well, because that was the first ever guy to beat Kimbo in a fight. But, I mean, that fight was like 45 minutes long. There was like 2 stops because there was a certain point where like both crews of like the guys that were there like got in the middle of it and just they had to break it up. But it was this whole big thing. Kimbo, everybody was like, oh, he would destroy anybody, a professional fighter. He's just got one punch power, yada, yada, yada. Well, season 10 of The Ultimate Fighter, it was heavyweights. They brought him on. Definitely was a true athlete, and he was listening to his coaches. He was taking down notes. He was implementing what he learned in practice, and he was trying very hard. It's just, you know, at his age and everything, he was just so set in his ways. But he probably would have been a problem had he started MMA early. But Rich Franklin. This guy.
From the 2010 Leaf set. This is, you know, to show you how great Leaf really is. I mean, I think that card's super dope.
No, I love the Leaf signatures. I mean, especially like through the cage. And then, I mean, Rich has a wonderful autograph, which, I mean, you need to when you're a school teacher for 3rd grade math.
That is very true. And I will say another thing with the Leaf is I believe Leaf is the only one who's ever had a Fedor autograph. Which is actually really cool.
Yes.
So definitely really cool
nice
to see.
Fedor.
And that's in the actual 2010 Leaf set. So that's one that we might have to open sometime soon.
Rich Franklin, I mean, and he was a pioneer of the sport in the sense of pushing somebody who wasn't just the generic cage fighter, like a Tank Abbott or a Chuck Liddell, somebody who's just going in there to hurt, maim, make somebody bleed in a puddle of their own blood. I mean, it's just like violence. He was out there using his brain, using his IQ, using his weapons, his range, everything that he knew, and he was going to go out there and beat you skillfully. And he was trying to change the game. He was a little bit more approachable in the way he looked. He was very nice. Again, math teacher for 3rd grade. Could you imagine your kid learning math from a professional cage fighter who was a champion at one point? Only lost the belt to Anderson Silva.
We're going to go right here to this Diego Sanchez. This is actually a piece of the cage from a fight, which is super dope. This is one that I think they should bring back. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
I think it's almost tacky in a way, but doing it with UFC, I think it's good. You know, when you have balls and stuff for football, it's like It could be any ball, but like just feeling like you're a part with the cage.
Yeah, to know that like it just makes you feel more connected with the fighters, with the promotion, just with the product in general. It makes you feel like you're having more pieces of history to acquire, right? You know, because if you get a piece of the cage, a piece of the mat, a piece of the fighter equipment, gloves, I mean, you know, you can almost start your own organization. Now we're getting into one of the people who was responsible, arguably, for saving the UFC, Forrest Griffin. This man with Stephan Bonnar, I mean, is responsible for saving the UFC, keeping the sport going, and also keeping the sport going to this day. You probably see him all the time in the commercials that UFC runs for Toyo tires. He's hilarious. He's got a wonderful personality, but he's also one of the lead people for the UFC's athletes performance institutes. Like, he is overseeing a lot of the performance institutes to make sure that athletes are getting the care that they need. He is in there a lot of times with training camps for a lot of big fights, making sure that the athletes are getting taken care of, making sure they have everything that they need, and also just being there to liven up their spirits.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still got a great mind. He's still in the sport. He'll get in there every once in a while and mix it up with some people. But, I mean, just a true, like, gamer of the sport, honestly. Just, like, a street dog. Like, he's got a heart of gold and bigger heart than anybody else in the cage. He's going to go until the last second.
Next, we're going to bring up this Sam Stout and talk about the inscriptions that they used to do with a lot of the cards. Obviously, you see a lot more in cards nowadays where they've started to do Wembanyama, or in Bowman, how the first prospect card autographs like that they would sign would say first autograph signed, or whatever it is in Bowman, baseball, stuff like that. This is something they used to do. They used to have nickname cards where they would put their Twitter on the actual card. So you can see that with like BJ Penn has one, John Jones has one. It's from like a 2010 or 2011 set.
Oh, wow.
Super cool.
Those
are really cool. I'm going to tell you right now, they have fistographs where they'll do like a fist instead. A fistograph. So it's like an autograph, but they would put ink on their hands and then press it against the cards.
That's actually kind of
That's kind of cool, right? So
I'm sitting there trying to make a bad joke.
Yeah, no, this is actually really cool. So you got Hands of Stone, which is super dope. Cool to have the nicknames on there, and that's something I would love to see more in UFC nowadays. Just seeing the nicknames on the cards. Oh yeah, for sure. But you know, Misha Tate has one where it says Cupcake. Like they have so many. Exactly.
That's my girl, Valentina. Vitor Belfort patch.
That's a nice patch too.
It is, and it's a premium piece. I mean, the card says so right there, premium piece. But out of 99, I mean, Vitor Belfort. Back in the day, he was the phenom because he was this young, up-and-coming star that just was starching everybody. Then he made it to the UFC, fought Randy Couture, did not do well. He was fighting high-level competition, but just like wasn't getting the best. But thankfully, the UFC, because he's been around forever, they allowed TRT for a short stint and let him have a resurgence. And he fought for the title against John Jones, almost beat him. One of the closest finishes that John has ever been in. Wonderful, like, legend of the sport. I mean, seriously, he's still going. I think he's still doing some kind of, I don't know if he's in the PFL or BKFC, but he's still fighting.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, just, you want
to
talk
about, he's been fighting, you know?
Probably like 15 years ago.
These are going straight to the PC. I mean, there was tons of just cool cards in this collection. I'm telling you, there's another, like I said, 200 and some cards, but, you know, when you got your Lost to GSP collection, because you collect GSP, which I think is something, if you have a favorite fighter, you should definitely do.
Way to broaden your PC.
Yeah,
sure.
If you go to, like, Lost to Cerrone PC for you know, or, like, people who beat him, you know, you could start collecting, you know, so many great people, because, you know, every time it got so close to the wire, he couldn't win. Anyways, that's a different conversation. Lost to GSP collection right here.
GSP couldn't even finish Dan Hardy, and he put him in like 18 different submissions. But Dan Hardy was just too tough of a man. George must just be a little weakling. Couldn't actually finish him. That's crazy.
You think it's a weakling to not finish a man? GSP is the greatest of all time, so I'm super happy to have these. You know, there's no one who can sway my opinion on that. Dan Hardy autograph. This one would be out of, 2011? So, Moments of Truth right here. Really cool to get his auto. And then also having the Alves patch, which is always super nice to have. The Ultimate Gears are super cool, and this is from 2010. But definitely a lot more of that older vintage style of UFC, which is what I love.
We have a number 288 patch of Anthony Pettis. Patch is pretty cool. They have like the little thing going over that says UFC Matt Relic. I don't know if you can see,
super dope.
But that's actually like really cool. It's Tough 13 finale card, and I love how they used to really put out on front like what the card was from versus like reading it on the back and the fine details. But I mean, Topps just has like some of the best product for UFC, I think personally.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Topps has really good product overall, but I mean, when I look at it, I really think they did amazing with UFC.
I feel like there's actual love for the sport.
I feel like there was a lot of fans of UFC at the time when they were making the Topps cards. Always went in there for a spectacular finish. He was the lightweight champion for a brief period. Was on a Wheaties box, the only MMA fighter to ever be on a Wheaties box. Yeah, take that.
Next, we're going to pull up this Clay Guida matte patch from UFC 125, which is super sweet, as we just saw him recently. We saw him in Charlotte, North Carolina, take on a fight, so that was super cool. This is also for Moments of the Truth, so you can see there's a lot of Moments of Truth in this collection, as there's a lot more. If you want to see more, you can leave a comment if you want to see some more cards from this collection, because this is just, what, 25%, if even? This is like the 10%.
Yeah.
So this is just some cards we handpicked out just to show you guys, to really get some, history of the game and the cards themselves. So
also educate you guys on anything that you might not know, and if you guys want to let us know anything that we didn't say in the video, please comment that down below. And then we're going to talk about one of the original GOATs. Still think he should be in the GOAT conversation. Jose Aldo.
Over Demetrius Johnson? No. Okay, then. Keep going.
I'm just saying, man, you can't just have like one greatest of all time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Jose Aldo, legend of the sport, 10 years undefeated. This is WEC card, so this is like really good. WEC was a prime organization for lower weight classes, like anything 170 pounds or lower. The Jose Aldo, just king of the sport, still winning fights at this age. I mean, which he's still not that old. He's not even 40 yet. Matt Hamill. Card should be... It should be like 4 or 5 zeros after this. The only man who has ever beaten John Jones.
Tell people more so that for the people who don't know.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Matt Hamill is a deaf fighter. So therefore, John Jones and him begin to fight. John Jones starts whooping his ass in a way that we have never seen before. I mean, cut this man open to where he just looks like a can of tomato paste. Is on the ground. John Jones decides to start throwing some illegal elbows straight up and down, 12-6 elbows. Steve Mazzagatti, that should let you know right now, steps in and asks the deaf fighter, who has 2-inch puddles of blood in each eye, can he continue? He has not got him to stand up to wipe the blood off his face so that he can see that he's talking to him. He just has a deaf fighter laying on the ground, rolling around in pain, waiting for something to happen. Doesn't respond because he can't hear you, can't see. So Steve calls the fight off, and now you have the greatest fighter ever to live, Matt Hamill. Only person to ever beat John Jones.
That's Aaron's spiel about that. And then we threw in a cool Frankie Edgar auto.
Because, I mean,
That's how
he's
you end
knocking out Gray Maynard.
Yeah.
It's an old school...
I mean,
UFC.
that's just dope. That picture alone, just the art on that, to see, it almost looks artistic versus an actual photo. Like seeing the guy's face just so distorted that you can see the movement.
Oh, you should
in
see
the
him
image.
drop.
But Frankie, I mean, that's just such a cool card.
Also a legend of the sport.
Oh,
One of the
100%.
few people that also transcended the sport in the fact of most people know about weight cutting is weight bullies. Everybody knows with like Alex Bejeda and people that suck all this water weight out of their body to try and make the weight for the weight class to be a weight bully and be bigger than the person they're fighting.
Yeah.
Frankie Edgar was one of the few people that actually went in and fought at his natural body weight. He fought at lightweight, 155. I mean, this man probably weighed 160, 165 pounds. Couldn't even make welterweight. Like, eating cheeseburgers, drinking beer, doing whatever. But this man was just like, man, just did not care. He was like, you can be bigger than me, I'm still going to beat you. And it was the lightweight champion multiple times, defended the belt multiple times. He dropped down to featherweight division, fought for the belt. He's now in the bantamweight, now he's retired. But then he finished off his career in the bantamweight division. I mean, not many people can go down in weight classes as they get older. Most people have to go up. But again, that's speaking on Frankie Edgar's like endurance and just like that dog he's got in him, bro. He did not care who you were. He was going to fight you, and he was probably going to win. His wrestling was like bar none. He was one of the best wrestlers in UFC I've ever seen.
That was part of the UFC collection. I mean, if you guys want to see some more of our UFC collections, we have some pretty big cards in there, some pretty cool stuff. Like, some interesting stuff that you definitely need to check out. Hey, shh. Save it for the video.
I'm letting them know what they got. So
you
they
need
can
to subscribe
comment down below to upload more of the PC.
Anyways, we'll hit you with some more videos. God's show, May 25th. We'll have a video there for you. We'll be selling a bunch of UFC, so if you want to come out, buy some UFC. You already saw the prices. Best prices on the market. You can get it there and only there. Be square. I don't know. I ran out of stuff to say.